the physics of poverty. Now, this is not your typical motivational talk about how to become rich. Instead, he is focusing on something deeper: why it is so difficult for many people to escape poverty in the first place. He explains poverty using ideas from science, psychology, economics, and social behavior, and he breaks it down into... Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Peter's Studio. On this channel, we analyze ideas, trends, news, religion, finance, and social issues so we can learn something meaningful from them. Today, I want to react to a very powerful and thought-provoking script about what Warren Buffett calls the physics of poverty. Now, this is not your typical motivational talk about how to become rich. Instead, he is focusing on something deeper: why it is so difficult for many people to escape poverty in the first place. He explains poverty using ideas from science, psychology, economics, and social behavior, and he breaks it down into 5 major traps that keep people stuck financially. So, in this video, I will highlight the main arguments, explain what they mean in simple terms, react to them critically, and share my perspective on whether these ideas really make sense. Let's begin. Number 1. Poverty as gravitational force. Warren Buffett starts with a very interesting idea. He says poverty is not just a lack of money. Instead, he compares poverty to gravity. Just like gravity pulls objects back to Earth, poverty pulls people back into financial struggle even when they try to escape. He uses the example of rocket science. For a rocket to escape Earth's gravity, it must reach something called escape velocity. If it reaches 99% of the required speed but not the full speed, the rocket does not partially escape. It crashes back down. His argument is that the working class experiences something similar. A person may work hard, save some money, try to improve their life, but then something happens. A medical bill, car breakdown, rent increase, job loss, and suddenly they fall back into financial trouble. My reaction to this. This analogy is very powerful and very accurate in many ways. Many people think poverty exists because people are lazy, but reality shows that many hard-working people are still struggling financially. Unexpected expenses can wipe out years of effort. However, I would also add something important here. While systems can create barriers, personal decisions still matter. The challenge is that people must learn both how the system works and how to navigate it wisely. So the Buffett makes a strong point here, but we should avoid turning it into a victim mentality. 2. The scarcity tax. The next major concept is what he calls the scarcity tax. This idea says being poor actually costs more money. He uses the famous boots theory example. A rich person can buy a $50 pair of boots that lasts 10 years. A poor person cannot afford $50, so he buys $10 boots that last 1 year. After 10 years, the rich person spent $50, the poor person spent $100, so the poor person actually paid twice as much. He also mentions other examples. Buying food in small quantities costs more. Paying overdraft fees, paying high-interest loans, paying late fees, etc. My reaction. This concept is very real, and economists actually discuss it often. Many low-income households pay higher financial penalties simply because they lack capital. However, I would add a practical point here. Even though the system may be expensive for the poor, financial discipline becomes even more important. This is why the speaker suggests something very important. Your first financial goal is not investing. Your first goal is to build a small emergency fund, even $500 or $1,000. This small buffer can prevent emergencies from turning into financial disasters. That advice is very solid and very practical. 3. The dopamine trap. Warren Buffett then moves into psychology.
He says many people criticize poor individuals by asking, why do poor people buy expensive phones? Why do they buy branded clothes? But he says this behavior is actually psychological coping. People living under constant financial stress experience high levels of cortisol, the stress hormone. So when they buy something new, shoes, gadgets, fashion, their brain releases dopamine, the reward chemical. For a short moment, they feel successful, but the relief is temporary while the debt remains. My reaction: this is a very insightful observation. Many people spend money not because they need the product, but because they need the emotional relief. However, the Warren Buffett also proposes a solution he calls monk mode. That means temporarily cutting unnecessary spending for several months. Examples: cancel subscriptions, avoid luxury purchases, stop impulse spending, etc. The goal is to reset your financial habits. Personally, I believe this idea can work, but it requires strong discipline and clear goals.
4. The linear income trap. Another key argument is the linear income trap. Most people are taught a simple equation: time equals money, meaning the only way to earn more money is to work more hours. But the problem is obvious. There are only 24 hours in a day, so income based purely on time eventually reaches a ceiling. Meanwhile, inflation keeps increasing the cost of living, so even if someone works harder, they may still become poorer over time. My reaction: this is one of the most important points in the entire script. Many people are trapped in jobs where income grows slowly, expenses grow faster. He suggests escaping this trap by building multiple skills. He calls this skill stacking. Instead of being the best in one area, combine several skills. For example, communication plus marketing, design plus business, technical skill plus sales. This combination makes someone rare and valuable in the market. I strongly agree with this point. In today's digital economy, people who combine multiple skills often create more opportunities. 5. Social gravity. Next, Warren Buffett discusses social influence. He says many people are trapped financially because of the environment around them. He uses the crab bucket analogy. When one crab tries to escape a bucket, other crabs pull it back down. He says something similar happens in society. When someone starts improving their life, learning new skills, saving money, building discipline, sometimes friends or family discourage them. They might say, "Relax, why are you stressing yourself? You think you are better than us?" My reaction: this is a very sensitive but very real issue. Your environment influences your thinking. However, I would emphasize something important here. You don't necessarily need to abandon people, but you must guard your mindset. He gives a smart solution. Learn from books, podcasts, and mentors online. In today's world, knowledge is accessible to anyone with an internet access, so your environment can become global, not local. 6. The compound interest principle. Finally, Warren Buffett talks about compound interest, which he calls the engine of wealth. He quotes a famous idea often attributed to Albert Einstein that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. The key idea is simple. Poor people often pay compound interest through debts. Rich people earn compound interest through investments. Over time, the difference becomes enormous. Then he explains 3 stages of financial escape. 1. Survival. Reduce expenses, eliminate high-interest debt. 2. Accumulation. Invest small amounts regularly. Buy assets instead of liabilities. 3. Freedom. Assets generate income. You are no longer dependent on selling time for money. My reaction:
This is a classic and proven financial principle. Wealth rarely happens suddenly. It grows slowly through consistent investment and patience. The key challenge for most people is discipline and long-term thinking.
Final thoughts. Overall, Warren Buffett delivers a very deep explanation of poverty. He identifies 5 major traps: scarcity tax, dopamine trap, linear income trap, social gravity, compound void. Whether we agree with every point or not, the message is clear. Escaping poverty requires awareness, discipline, skill development, wise financial decisions, and the courage to think differently. But I would add one more thing that he did not emphasize enough. Character and mindset matter greatly. 2 people can face the same environment, but make very different decisions. So while systems influence outcomes, individual responsibility still plays a major role. Thank you for watching this analysis on Peter's Studio. If you enjoyed this breakdown and reaction, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who needs financial wisdom. And let me ask you a question. Do you believe poverty is mostly a system problem or mostly a personal decision problem? Let's discuss in the comments. See you in the next video.